Hey everyone, welcome to the Gaming X. Today I'm excited to be finally taking a look at Monster Energy Supercross on the Xbox One. This is a game I've personally been waiting for some time now. You may remember a previous video I did on the Switch for MXGP3, which was a letdown with cutbacks in multiple areas, so I'll also be releasing a separate review for the Switch in the coming week, alongside a comparison video of both versions side by side. Now with that being said, let's jump in, and remember, if you like what you see then consider hitting subscribe. We release reviews every Monday, Thursday and Saturday. So let's kick things off with graphics, and I've got to say, this is a great looking game. It actually took me by surprise, at least during the races. Milestone have clearly adopted the attitude of sponsor Monster for this title, with races opening with fireworks, entrance animation and a nice overview of the upcoming track. It's a simple feature, but one that reinforces and reflects what you get live. When it comes to the races themselves, I can confidently say this is the best work Milestone have done, surpassing any previous title. The bikes themselves look fantastic and the intricate machinery is very clearly on show here. Additionally, the bikers' reactions and posture when it comes to riding looks not only smooth but realistic. You can visibly see them handling the bike as they take turns rather than not really reacting. They are very much an extension of their machinery, and they've reflected that. Now if you switch to first person mode, this is clearly not going to be a focal point for you, but I will warn, first person mode brings some issues along with it. Kicking off races in the handlebar camera, you're going to get almost consistent clipping, and this is apparent for the entire race as you drive through back wheels and riders. The collision detection could do with some work in this area. Finally, there's a helmet camera mode, and while it's a nice inclusion, I noticed not only the clipping but a drop in quality overall with the graphics. Whether this is representing the goggles you're wearing, everything falls a bit flat. Lighting detail is taken from the track and it just loses its wow factor. Then there's the 17 official tracks included, and again, generally speaking, they look fantastic. Mud kicks from the bikes, and the consistency itself changes on certain elements, so the bike not only reacts accordingly, but you're going to see mud flinged into the camera. The stadiums also have some nice touches. A good example is the University of Phoenix in Glendale, where you can clearly see the Arizona Cardinals logo in the background. It's these small inclusions that adds the realism we expect. Unfortunately, not all is perfect when it does come down to the tracks, including textures loading in as you progress, and there's some lower levels of detail throughout on the outer edges. When you are full throttle, it's not typically noticeable, but in Supercross, there's quite a few moments where you're going to need to slow down enough to see some lower effort on the sidelines. This is especially true with the audience, which has been a bug with arena-based games now for years. Last but not least, they have included a number of moments when they physically include the racers, such as podium moments and the main menu itself, and I've got to say, while it's good to see the effort, this is not pretty. They look downright creepy, to be honest, and there's definitely a vibe of dead behind the eyes with each of our pros. Even during the character customization, out of the 11 available templates, only 3 really did keep away from that kind of creepy vibe. Overall though, I will say the racing is what we are here for, and they've done a great job of producing the best looking motorbike based game out there. Yes, it does have some issues, as I said, including some of the lower quality textures and some poor character models, but honestly, we are here for the racing, and that's where they succeeded. So gameplay, and let's kick things off with game options, and they've really not held back here. There's a single player mode, multiplayer, a comprehensive career mode which had me locked in for around 6 to 7 hours, and finally a championship mode. Additionally, by far the most impressive feature, a track editor, and this thing is awesome. They've taken a game that could have easily locked you to the 17 official tracks included, but what they've done instead is open it to unlimited possibilities. After my 6 to 7 hours in career mode, the included official tracks of course started to wear thin, but now that we've got this creator, it's given it an unlimited lifespan, and I was able to completely refresh the title by just going simply into this mode. We also have some decent customization options. The character creation falls pretty flat with only a handful of available templates, but when it comes to clothing, sponsors and the bikes themselves, this game is loaded. I spent a good hour switching up my bike, whether that was me changing out mechanical elements all the way through to just the decorative design. It was great to see the difference it made when I would finally get it onto the track. A Milestone have smartly included 20 save slots. It's going to accommodate those that want to build an entire garage of bikes. So with that covered, let's talk about by far the most important element, the handling. So going into a race, do remember this is Supercross, not motocross. The most common distinguisher between the two is that Supercross has tracks built indoors or within arenas. It's also common to find tighter turns, and if you've played MXGP, you're going to immediately see the difference. With the difference in racing, you might expect some guidance, but Monster Supercross does nothing to hold your hand. All they have here is a terribly implemented text-based training mode. You'll need to pick up everything else out on the track. If there's one feature I would really like to see, it's a training mode for those newer players. These games, they have a history of not being accessible, and this is a major reason. When it does come to the handling itself, do expect to be using both front and rear brakes constantly. You'll be nudging acceleration as you take turns at a tight angle, and you'll need to remember to monitor where on the track you are, so you don't jump full speed only to realise there was a turn immediately below. I can't say how many times I was flying off the track at full speed, but it was enough to learn my lesson when I realised I was flying over the turn I needed to take. Fortunately, they've included a new feature in Rewind. So here, you make an error, it's simple, rewind and resume from a previous point. It's the exact same system Race Driver Grid used so many years ago, and it's a welcome addition to this title. For those who are more hardcore and veteran players, don't worry, they definitely haven't forgotten you. Pre-race menus include all the settings you need for a crushing experience, from physics to AI difficulty all the way through to removing that rewind feature. Milestone are starting to progress to a wider audience without leaving anyone behind, and it's great to see. So I will say this, the handling of the bikes here is really tight, it's really enjoyable, it's the best I've actually ever seen it. Throttling at full speed, it captures the excitement so well, but as you may expect, there was a couple of issues. First, with 22 races on screen, it can get busy very quickly, and I did notice especially on the first turn, when everyone's clumped together, the game does suffer from some frame rate drops. Fortunately, it never impacted my ability, but with how smooth the rest of the game was, I did immediately feel the difference. Finally, when it comes to handling and the bikes, it's of course, unfortunately, the physics. Now I've got to say, the bikes, they feel great, they have weight, you can see them digging into the dirt, and then cornering, the sliding is animated to a great level. Unfortunately, it's when you take to the air that you notice the problem. Coming down, you're going to notice moments when you connect with other riders and you miraculously float on top of them. At times I had races where for 2 to 3 seconds I was sitting on someone's head taking a turn. Naturally, I do get it, it could be pretty damn graphic seeing someone get crushed below you, but this has been a problem for a while now and we need to find a solution. It not only breaks the immersion and realism so quickly, but it turns these situations from intense to comedic, and that's the last thing you want during a race. Overall, I will say this, like the graphics, this is the best the gameplay's ever been. We've got a huge amount of options in there, we've got a fantastic track builder, and we've got some of the best handling the games from Milestone have seen yet. Unfortunately, physics do still play a part, and there is some issues there with clipping and frame rate drops. Finally, audio, and I don't have too much to say here. The bikes, they sound good on the track, as do those around you. It has a nice way of establishing the 21 bikes surrounding you for that immersion. Unfortunately, the rest of the sound effects are pretty unspectacular. Canned audience cheers and just a few moments of commentary at the beginning and end of each race. Overall, the sound effects work, they're just nothing special. My biggest issue though by far in the audio department is the music. I'm pretty sure this has one track included and it's going to repeat over and over again. Fortunately, they did put it low in the mix, but just occasionally mid-race I would hear it sneak through the engine sounds and I'd get a shiver down my spine not wanting to listen to it again. I see this as a huge missed opportunity to go big, especially with the soundtrack. Am I the only one out there who would love to see something like the soundtracks from the Tony Hawk's games in here? Bring back the rock and punk soundtracks that would fit so well with the attitude of this sport. So the final verdict, and Monster Energy Supercross was a game I was looking forward to. Fortunately, Milestone have really stepped up their game for this one. The graphics have seen a considerable jump, whether that's the arenas, the races, or just the simplest of visual effects. Alongside this, the handling has seen huge improvement, with the bikes losing that floating feeling that's been present in so many Milestone games before. Then, finally, they've given the players control with an absolutely incredible track creator mode which will keep you entertained indefinitely. This is a great overall package and one I can recommend. Of course, yes, there is issues, the occasional frame rate drop, the dead behind the eyes character models, and a soundtrack which truly sucks and needs some serious work. But overall, Milestone have released one of the best motorbike based games in some time. Now if only they could work out the physics issues that have plagued so many of their previous titles. The Gaming X awards Monster Energy Supercross a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching today. Remember to hit subscribe. We have new reviews every Monday, Thursday and Saturday, and in the coming week you can expect the Switch review of this same game alongside a side-by-side graphical comparison. Will Milestone make up for the poor effort in MXGP3 on the Switch? Find out this week. We'll see you on the next Gaming X.